With over 500,000 trees and shrubs already planted and growing, it's easy to forget you are in the city. We don't just say, we do. It's the Stay in City way.
Good afternoon, welcome to Real Talk. South Africans woke this morning to the tragic news of the brutal passing of one of generations' great, Mandla Hlakyayo. Tributes from politicians, the acting fraternity and fans alike quickly poured in via social media. It was also with shock that South Africans learned that Mandla was one of two people who lost their lives after attempting to intercept a robbery in a Pimville pub by 4 armed gunmen. Mandla, having tried to defend the safety of others, has gone down as a hero. Just a few days after the topic of gender-based violence against women was rehashed, we from Real Talk send our condolences to the family. Also today, we're looking at one of the many ways in which social media platforms are utilized either for communication, to create awareness, or in today's case, the various ways in which people can make money from social media. My first guest is a social media professional, but it was his passion for finding a solution to youth unemployment that gave rise to a hashtag that since allowed him to make a living from helping others. Please welcome to Real Talk, the founder of hashtag Job Seekers SA, Menzingobo. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Anele.
I'm glad you're here. Quickly, let's talk about Mandla Hlakyayo, right? When something like that happens, I mean, you make your money from social media. When something like that happens, and obviously, you know, the tributes will pour in, obviously via social media, because it's the one place that we can go to be at the same place quickly. Okay. From your social media background, if you want to advertise something, do you back off for that moment?
No, it's not a good idea.
Ne?
Anything to do with natural disasters, death, stay away.
Just don't be pushing your hashtag or whatever plans any company had.
It's horrible. Just don't do it. It's insensitive. It's really unnecessary. Just don't do it.
Okay, so you've been at this since 2015, I believe.
The actual job?
Yeah, the hashtag
2015,
jobs,
yes.
Yeah.
On the 28th of July, 2015.
How did it happen? I know that, you know, most people people with money who've got their own businesses, when you ask them for advice about, you know, I want to start my own business, they always say one thing. Start a business that you would buy into, that you buy the product yourself, or something that's a calling, or you want to provide a service to people, and then it will work out. So clearly you are tired of seeing youth unemployed.
Yes. I've always been passionate about youth empowerment, so I studied psychology at UKZN. After finishing my degree, I went into social media. So on that day, it was very random. It's not like I planned to start a hashtag. I saw a lady, she had a degree in chemical engineering. She was looking for a job. So I was like, what? Let's just create a hashtag so that everyone else can use the same thing. So that's how it started. And
then when it started growing and becoming this massive animal that it's become, I mean, at which point did you realize that it's no longer just something you were doing to help others out, and that it could actually be a platform that could generate revenue? Okay, so the media attention was crazy. On that day, we were trending worldwide, not just in Joburg, not Durban, not Cape Town, worldwide. So I was like, you know what, I can't just let this thing go on its own. I need to utilize my social media skills and marketing skills to make it grow bigger than this, because Destiny magazine and other publications are already writing about this. So I had to use my skills and my passion for youth empowerment to push it further. That's how. So how do you, because here's what happens, you come up with an idea, it does well, like you say, it trends worldwide. How do you stop it from getting stolen by, say, a bigger recruitment? That's a very good question. There is a platform, it's called TWUB, TWUB. So you go there, you register a hashtag. Yes. You register a hashtag which has more longevity, not something that is going to die quickly. Let's say maybe it's an event, it's dying on Sunday. But if it has longevity and it's ongoing, then you register there. TWUB. So nobody can steal your hashtag. So that's like, what, the 2017 way of copywriting your things? Yes. A lot of people don't know about it, but I did my research, I found the platform, and then I registered. So you can't steal my idea, you can't advertise, I mean, doing sponsored ads, you can't do that at all. Only I can do it, or I can give you permission to do it. Okay, so then there's interest, media, Destiny magazine is calling you, News 24 is calling you. How do you okay, then you register it on Chubbs. But I mean, the problem with most of us when it comes to business is that conversion into actually making it a business.
Money. Oh, okay.
Money,
I
yes.
always get asked this question. So what I do is I don't charge Anele to find Anele a job.
Yeah.
So you don't pay a cent. You just send your CV to whoever you want to send it to, and then you get a job. What I do though is I partner with brands. Like at the moment, I'm offering job readiness programs. So I'm working with Liberty Africa, a non-profit organization in Braamfontein.
I know them, they do good work.
Yes, they do good work for the youth. So they offer you your money skills, your entrepreneurial skills, your business skills, people skills, all those things. So I partner with them and I make money. Okay. I partnered with Tata Motors as well. So you had to test drive a new car, which is a starter pack for young people, and then you stand a chance to win a job.
Yes, so obviously kind of people who need a car, they've just come out of university and they're in that like first entry-level car buying market. All right, and where does I know it's hashtag Job Seekers SA, but where does it live on? Do you have a website now? I understand you're helping people with their CVs and all of that.
I wanted to start a website, but now the thing is with hashtag, everything happens in real time and it expires quickly, so it's not a good idea. I am working on something. I can't reveal on national TV because I haven't registered anything yet. I am working on something that's very different to job portals because we already have Careers 24, all these communities. So I want something very different, something useful for someone with no money for data. Let's say you are in varsity and you want to apply. It's very expensive to send your CV, to print copies, to send to whoever. So I want something very different.
So basically you are a hashtag internet recruitment agency, right? I'm
not recruiting anybody. I don't recruit. So what I do is I do work with recruiters. If you have a job, I post it. And you as an organization or a company, I'm the middleman. Yes, that's what I do. And then I offer advice as well and mentorship.
So how liable are you? Let's say a company hires me and I turn out to be rubbish, right?
Yes.
But you're the one who told the company about me.
Yes.
How liable are you about my bad performance?
So this is what I do. When I send you a CV, by Anele, I send it to a company. So they have to do a background check.
Themselves.
It's their duty, it's not my duty. I'm just giving you a candidate. So it's your job to do a personality check, background check, do everything by yourself. My job is done once I've sent through the CV.
So besides the big top secret thing that you can't tell us, what's the end goal for you? I mean, are you looking at running like an internet empire? You know, is Job Seekers SA going to be the next Facebook where everyone in the world, you know, because you said the hashtag is international, therefore can you get me a job in America?
Yes. Okay, with this thing that I'm currently working on, it's going to speed up the process in terms of the recruitment. It's not as outdated as it is now. You go to a job portal and then you apply and then you wait. This one is going to be very different.
Okay, so it's speeding up the process.
I don't want to count my eggs before they hatch, but I can promise you that I have big hopes for this one. I'm very excited.
And you are living off this? Your bills are paid?
Not really. I do have a job. I'm a social media professional, so I'm not just an influencer. I'm skilled. I have qualifications.
Yes, you're a psychologist.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not just psychology. After psychology, I did a degree. I did not a degree.
A course.
It's like a diploma in content marketing. So I am qualified to work in social media. So I work with different brands, not just for job seekers, for other things as well.
So this is part and parcel of just something that you do.
Of what I do.
But it's more, this is your baby.
Exactly.
And it makes you some nice cash on the side.
It does, I'm not going to lie.
Where's your Maserati parked?
We're going to speak about that after the show.
We'll go off air with this one. Maxi, thank you so much. You really enlightened me. Hashtag Job Seekers SA.
That's correct.
Well, there you go. Sometimes a hashtag is all you need. Other times a little more effort, creativity and strategy is required to potentially make money off social media. After the break, we venture into the world of blogging for a living. Stay with us. And welcome back to Real Talk. Today we're discussing making money through social media. Once upon a time, an American author by the name of Arianna Huffington co-founded the Huffington Post. It was launched as a politically liberal online American blog in 2005. By 2011, Mass Media Corporation, AOL, acquired the Huffington Post for over 4.1 billion rand. Today, the Huffington Post boasts a Pulitzer Prize and is currently active in 19 countries worldwide, including South Africa. Now, this is a real story which illustrates the potential power of entrepreneurship in blogging. To talk more about blogging, I'm joined by the creative director of The Threaded Man, Siyabonga Beile, as well as Sam Wright, who founded the Tech Girl blog. Future entrepreneur, moguls, billionaires, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
I called you here so that the day you do become billionaires, we're then friends, you see.
It's a small move. It's why I'm friends with Sia, to be honest.
See, I have friends in high places and
Yeah.
low places. You guys are here on the way
That's
there.
a good strategy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
People should just always watch me. You said something very interesting. You said that you don't like the fact that people think your blog is a fashion blog because The Threaded Man is just so much more than that.
Yeah, I think, for one, I have nothing about blogging. I don't hate blogging. I love blogging. But I think for me, blogging was a way to build a business and to bring highlight to a platform that no one really focused on in terms of fashion. You know, The Threaded Man was built on the belief that, you know, black kids and people of color deserve a chance in the fashion and lifestyle industry. And the best way to bring consciousness to that was to start a blog. But there's a whole big business empire behind it. Yeah.
Dude, I went onto your blog and it is crisp. Like,
Yeah.
I like crisp things. It just looks nice and the colors are amazing. And, you know, even the written word, the thought is quite great. So is this what your idea is?
Yeah, and I think, Siswam, for me, the craziest thing was that I got tired of hearing about, you know, to make it as a black South African, you need to be on Vogue or all these European and westernized magazines. I was like, instead of complaining about Vogue not including people of color or white-owned portals not including people of color,
why not make your own?
Yeah, and for me it was important to build that quality so that my people can see that, listen, black people can actually do it and black people can be well represented. You don't have to go to New York or go to London to be seen as making it. If you're on The Threaded Man, you've made it, you know? So for me, Threaded Man is up there.
Oh, nicely done. Sam, now, obviously yours has to be crisp because it's a tech blog. Imagine if it was shoddy. We'd be like, what's the school doing? So I saw it, it's crisp, but I mean, you know, equally with Sia saying that, you know, black people are kept out of those spaces, girls are kept out of the tech spaces. Did you find that it was an issue for you when you started your blog?
That was exactly why I started my blog, because I was freelancing for a lot of tech websites, and it was this hardcore serious thing, and I was getting frustrated because I wanted to have a space where girls could come, and I felt like women had a stereotype. If you were interested in tech or gaming, then you were obviously this really overweight, nerdy person who had no social life.
Who wears a check shirt and has a box cut.
Exactly.
And like big shoulders.
And you can't like makeup and you can't like getting your nails done because you're into tech and gaming. And, and I got frustrated, and I wanted to have a little bit of fun, and that was why I started the blog, because I said, every single girl is a gamer inside or she's a tech fan inside, but you're made to believe that if you want to be interested in nerdy stuff, you have to fit a particular nerdy stereotype. I wanted to show you that you could be just as glamorous and beautiful and still be a gamer or be interested in tech.
It's so strange because we were the first ones to use microwaves and those are very techy. So that stuff we're allowed to use. But as soon as we get to like the gaming thing, then no girls allowed. How do you build traction? How do you get numbers that you get like such a following?
I don't know how it happened for me, to be honest.
Really?
I honestly started this blog at a restaurant with my friends drinking wine, and I was trying to explain to them how a particular new phone worked. And one of them said, you're really quite funny and you should write this down because it's quite entertaining to watch. And I thought, well, it's actually quite a good idea. I have nothing else to do. I mean, I had a job, but I was like, I need to do something on the side. And also it was a cool way to meet new people because I was like, I need more friends. So I'll start this blog and it'll be a cool way to chat to a couple of people. And I didn't realize how quickly it would grow and how many girls just like me were out there and how many women just like me were there who were looking for a space to talk. And I don't know how it grew, and that's the honest truth. But it's reached a point now where I think it just became a word of mouth. It started as word of mouth. And it also started just speaking to different people in the industry, meeting them. And when you meet someone, they'll tell someone else about your blog. That's how it happened. I think it's different now because I started 3 years ago. I think it's very different now if you start a blog.
And also like 3 years in tech and IT and internet is 30 years. Like what was relevant 3 years ago, if you're not keeping up with the pace and like keeping up with how to keep yourself relevant, you're just going to get lost. So is it a game of luck then, Sia? Because she doesn't know how it happened for her, but it happened. Is it like a game of your luck meets your talent, meets your vision?
Not at all. For me, I think, you know, luck happens to those who are prepared. and meet that moment of destiny.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to, the threaded man concept came for me when I was in high school.
Okay.
Where I was like, you know, I feel as black people, we need to not just build fashion and lifestyle content, but what are my kids who are going to be black going to be watching in the future, and how can I play a part in creating a space for young black people, especially in the Eastern Cape, who are creative but feel that they're never good enough to be on that level. And so I wanted to start the Threaded Man based on that, and it's going to grow beyond fashion. So for me, it was always strategic, very strategic.
I like the way you say when I was in high school, like it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 years ago.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, you've since been named Forbes list under 30 to watch out for?
Yeah, so since started the Threaded Man, the highlights have been, I've been named Forbes under 30. I've spoken at international conferences for brands like Microsoft, Goldman Sachs. So yeah, it's really, really cool. It's grown more than a blog now. It's a fully operational business with employees that are up to 30. So,
you employ 30 people?
Yeah, so 15 is permanent, and then the 15 are freelancers. So yeah, and we work with them per project that we do. We do above the line, below the line advertising. We do trend research. I'm the fashion director for quite a few award shows like the Mamas. So yeah, we do quite a lot. We did the SAFTAs where you were there. Yeah, so Threaded Man, for me, the social media is like the window display.
But inside, there's a proper creative hub going on, and is constantly churning out content for other brands.
Yeah, and I always teach people that for me, social media is not something that you do as a job. Social media is there to highlight your job. So I use social media to show people what I'm doing, and because of that, they feel like they're on the journey. They're always like, oh, Sia, you're on radio now, that's so cool, we're gonna listen in. So for me, social media is the journey. It's the book and the pages, and what you write is your job.
You left your job because your tech website was like taking off.
Well, interestingly enough, didn't leave my job because of that. Actually left my job because the blog had allowed me to start doing so many other things. I've been able to travel. I was getting to go all over the world, and then I got very involved in esports, which is competitive gaming, and started getting a lot of opportunities there, and those opportunities I couldn't do with the day job.
With the 9 to 5.
And I sat down, and I mean, everything else was lack, but this was a very logical decision of, if I want to do this, and if I want to do this properly, I need to do it full-time, one. Two, I'm now in a space where I'm getting all these opportunities. I get to travel, I get to host these esports competitions, I also get to work with a lot of brands, exactly like Sia said, behind the scenes, and if I want to do this properly, I need to leave my job. So I did.
Sleepless nights thinking about it?
For the first month, I think I woke up every single morning at 3 a.m. having a small heart attack. But
I want to be broke!
I'm gonna be starving, and my housemate at the time would be like, we're fine, for like 3 months I'll buy food if I have to. But it was the best decision I ever made, and I get to do so much now. But at the same time, in the same space, because I'm now doing this full time, I've been able to put a lot more focus into the blog. I've been able to do a few other things like a YouTube channel, and I hired 3 girls who are also YouTubers now, and they want to be creative, and they get to write on the blog now. So I've been able to give them a small income every month to allow them to pursue their passion, which I think was a realization for me of when I started that blog and I said, oh cool, I'm just going to do this because it's fun and I can make friends. What I was actually doing is starting a place where I could say anyone can do this. If you're into gaming, if you're into tech and you're female, there's a space for you, and we can do this together.
All right, before we go to a break, you say you spoke for Microsoft at a Microsoft gig, whatever.
Yeah, overseas, yeah.
Could it be that Bill Gates liked the fact that you two have got the same glasses?
Most probably, yeah. Most probably, yes. Yes.
Well, you heard it yourself from these 2 bloggers who are doing it successfully. Have you been toying with the idea of starting your own blog but are intimidated about where to begin? Or maybe you started a blog that has since collected dust because you neglected it? I'm laughing because there's so many. Let's see if Sam and Sia can provide some guidance after the break. Don't forget about our weekly competition though, where you can win yourself a lovely 5,000 rands worth of an e-gift card voucher to spend on some home goodies. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Real Talk with me on Anele. Yeah, that's where we are. Actually, with me, Anele on SABC3. That's how it goes. The stage is yours. All right, so now that we've got it into your mind about how to start a blog, and you have a blank computer screen staring at you, how do you begin? What do you blog about? What layout or style do you choose? How often do you keep updating, and how on earth do you get this blog to gain a mass following? Well, listen up, because I've got the experts here. Sia, I'll start with you. If I'm not reading The Threaded Man, who do you think is second in command to what you do?
To what I do.
Yeah, so like another blog that you feel like, you look at them, you're like, okay.
There's no one.
Oh!
No, I'm not saying that in arrogantly, but there just isn't anyone that's doing the kind of content that we are doing and sort of, you know, building the kind of platform that we have built in the field of fashion and lifestyle. I'm not being spicy, it's just the truth.
I know that, but surely there's, okay, so it's like Denzel Washington and Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah.
They are two amazing actors, right? But when they look at each other, it's like, oh, game recognizes game. I see you. So I want to know, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a blog that is competing with you or do the same thing as you, but if you're not on your blog, where are you?
Is South African-wise or international?
Just go for it.
I think Africa-wise, I'm on OK Africa.
Okay.
I think they cover quite well of the diaspora. I read a lot of Tap magazine, which is an African fashion and lifestyle magazine that's based in Toronto, owned by a guy called Moses from Ghana. Okay. So I consume a lot of his stuff, street etiquette. Basically, I love black people. So for me, it's all about if black people are doing content online,
you're in there.
I'm in there. So definitely, but in South Africa, there's no one doing it like we're doing it. So yeah.
And you, if I'm not reading the tech girl, where am I?
So internationally, I follow a lot of esports guys. So a guy called Alex Machine Richardson, he's like my hero and I want to be him. And then a couple of the girls as well, another girl called Pansy. But locally, YouTubers. There are so many good female gaming YouTubers and I'm absolutely terrified because they're probably all going to just knock me out of the space. But they also, I love their content. So there's Shani ZA, Constantine 104. They're just girls that play games. And of course, Grant Hines, who I think is the best gaming YouTuber out of South Africa, if not the world. He's so rad and he's the strangest human, but so much fun. So I spend a lot of time watching their stuff.
I suppose with you, your job is a bit magnified because you know you're dealing with tech, so you're reviewing games and you're finding different ways to review games. You're finding, you know, every day somebody's releasing a phone. You know, there's the S8 and then it's the iPhone and then it's the P10. Just people are always releasing, so you've got things that you're reviewing all the time. Does that make your job difficult or easier? The fact that the content is there, it's just how you present it.
I think it's more difficult because the problem is that everyone is releasing phones and everyone's talking about those phones. So how do you stay relevant in a world where everyone's saying the same thing? So when a new phone comes out or a new game, like a game, for example, everyone reviews it, everyone says the same thing. How do you make it different with phones? I started doing really silly stuff like wine spillage tests on phones.
Because
or like,
that's what will happen.
And it's important. I feel like it's the most important thing anyone can
Or
ever
if you
check.
leave it on top of your car and you drive off, how long can you drive before it falls off the
and
car?
how badly does the screen smash? So things like that, fitting phones into your smart, into your jeans, your skinny jeans, smartphones.
High-waisted ones.
Those things. So I try to think of like things like that. And when I play games as well, I'll do silly things. So like I'm not a good gamer at all. I'm actually horrifically bad at video games. I just like playing them. So I'll be like, okay, I'm not going to do a playthrough for someone because they'll probably get really annoyed at how bad I am. So instead, I'm going to put a tracker on my wrist and figure out how high my heart rate goes in a scary game. That's hard though, to find stuff that's still relevant to someone and someone wants to read or someone wants to watch and stay relevant when a million other people are doing the same content. So I think it is a bit more difficult, but there is a lot of content. You just have to sit down and think about it.
So we've pretty much come up, heard how you come up with your content and you just do, you do everything and it's just the way you execute it. How do you price yourself? How do you value yourself? Because that's another thing about blogging that people want to know about is that when do you know to charge a company 30,000 Rand a month to live on your page?
Wow, I think for me it started with the purpose. I didn't seek out to create money from the platform that I was producing. Because I'm so young, I was like, I don't have to work for a couple of years. Let me just push this thing. So for me, it was about creating authentic content that connected to young black people, especially people in the Eastern Cape or Soweto.
Where are you from in the Eastern Cape?
Yeah,
like Thabo Mbeki.
Yeah, he's a homie.
Of course he is.
So for me, it was about how do I reach out to those kids who like to be stylish, but they shop at Pep or another cheap brand. So for me, it was about creating content that says, you too are stylish, you too are part of the conversation, and this platform is also for you. And that's why Threaded Man just sort of blew out the park and became so huge. And when it comes to make, and because of that, I know how much it means to the audience. And when it comes to dealing with the brand, I know the value that I'm carrying. So, and I'm not willing to just give it away.
But the first time you had to come up with an amount. The first time. The second time is easy because you've got...
The first time I just threw an amount
and then
that I felt was a good enough amount. I think that's the thing about social media that people don't understand. There is no book that says this is how much you charge. Just like business, you get what you negotiate and how much you value. So you can get a blogger who has 1,000 followers but can make 20 grand because they've negotiated that I can make sure that I have this amount of views and this amount of engagement. It's not about followers. You don't get 20,000 followers and charge 5 to 10 grand. It's about you can be 20,000 followers and charge 50 grand if you want. Depending when it comes to negotiate, can you sell it to the brand and believe you?
Which then is actually you living off the blog. This is now we need you in person in a boardroom to sell how much.
It's a business. I think that's what people miss. They think they look at influencers and it looks like we live these lavish lifestyles, traveling overseas and all those things. But there's a whole business in the back end negotiating, you know, and I mean, today I had to negotiate with the brand and I was like, actually, I don't want to work with you. You're being quite rude. So I'm not going to say, but it's about understanding your value, but most importantly, being authentic and real with your audience. That's how you make real money. It's about, if you know, for example, there was an ad of Justin Bieber, and this brand offered us quite a good amount of money to have Justin Bieber show up on our website. And it was good money. I would have been bawling if I took that gig at the time. But I was like, my audience would never love this. My audience would never relate to this. And I kept authentic to that. So for me, it's always about my audience. That's the first point. And because I value my audience highly, I'm not willing to just sell it off for any amount of money.
That's nice. Don't ever stop that. Mistakes you made early on in the blogging world?
Underselling myself, that was the first thing. So thinking, because I think coming from a day job, just thinking it's completely okay to, if someone comes to you and says, well, will you do this, just do it, because it's fun and whatever, and realizing
for exposure.
For exposure, and believing that story. Oh, well, you'll get exposure from this, it's a good idea. So learning that the hard way, but I think also the mistake that I made was not taking it seriously in the beginning and realizing it was a business. So not presenting myself exactly like Sia said, walking into a room and understanding that I actually have value and my audience is really important. And whatever these guys are going to put on the table, if it doesn't fit with me, I shouldn't go near it. And there's a few times, if I look back, where I didn't do that and I made that mistake. And I think also not supporting other creators. So this is a big thing for me, is we're all doing the same thing. We spoke earlier about, well, who do you think is going to knock you off this? I don't think anyone can knock you off your spot because your audience is unique to you. And I think when I started, I didn't think like that. I thought, oh, well, I don't have to be friends with these people or speak to these people. And I've realized now, as I've continued, and I think also getting a little bit more experience in it, is that the best part about this whole thing is your audience and the other people creating content, because no one understands creating content like other creators. And the biggest mistake I made in the beginning was not supporting one another, not picking up the phone when a brand tried to offer me exposure. And
ask for advice from somebody else.
And ask for advice from someone else. So I think that was for me, and I've tried to change that now, but that was definitely one of the bigger errors, was not working as a community, because that's actually what this is all about. We're on the internet making friends and being a community.
So yeah, we're wrapping it up. Mistakes that you know that you made?
Oh, there's many, Sissy. Yo. And being broke. Like, people have, it's also one of the biggest mistakes, especially when you sit with brands. They make you feel like your presence, they're doing you a favor by paying you. And for a very long time, I didn't value what I had, because brands made it seem like they're paying me for a hobby. You're lucky that we're actually even paying you. You know, they had that approach. And since then, I'm like, actually, no, screw that. You know, as a blogger, when you're starting out, you are the stylist, you are the creative director, you are the writer, you are the editor, you are the IT person. You do all these jobs that need 7 people as one person. And to get those images out, to go for that quality is tough. And you end up running all these costs, and then a brand pays you such little money and you stop being broke. So for me, that was a definite mistake that I made. I think the other mistake that I made was that when I started out The Threaded Man, is that I always wanted it to be a business, not a personal blog. So for a very long time, Sia Beile was The Threaded Man. And since then, you know, I've evolved.
You can't be all things to everyone.
Yeah, so I've now like the Richard Branson for Virgin. So that's how I see it now.
I like
so
it.
that balance was just always tricky, you know, where someone would be like, just because we were using Sia Beile as an influencer, it means we have access to Threaded Man. And I'm like, actually, no, it's 2 separate things. They're 2 separate brands. And and also, the last big mistake.
Yes, you better, because I have to go to an ad break to pay my brand.
The last big mistake is influencers need to build their own structures. Stop depending on brands to build your company. Have an editor, invest in your staff, invest in a publisher, invest in a media person. You are a brand, you are a business, and start investing in building those structures.
Wow, okay, so that's thethreadedman.com. This is takegold.co.za. I'm absolutely blown away by them. Go and check it out. This actually needs a lot of thought, like a business plan. Thank you to my guests, Anele and Sam Wright, for sharing some advice. Coming up next, a young videographer and a photographer found their way to attract big brands into creating, among things, for them videos for him to earn some cash on YouTube. YouTuber Sibum Panza joins me next. Today's tough, eh, George? And welcome back to Real Talk on SABC3, where the stage is yours. My next guest Twitter bio reads, I make videos for the internet. Last year, he received recognition as one of the youngsters who are on the up and up when it comes to YouTube personalities. It was a keen interest and a passion for videography and photography that was the starting blocks for his channel, titled Sibum Panza SA. Part of what you can look forward to on his channel is his commentary on social events, as well as the state of the nation, like this clip, for example.
Uzar Jacobs would like to know, how do you know what to charge brands that you work with?
You just kind of learn it over time. I saw what people were willing to pay for my work, and then I started from there. And you know, the more reach I got, the more engagement I got, the more work I got, I started pushing my rates up and up to where they are now. And I will keep doing so. The more work that I do, the more work that I get.
So I'm interested to know then, how do you grow your reach?
For me, my thing is I love social media so much, so I'm on it all the time. So automatically it will happen where you're tweeting people all day, every day. You're on Facebook making statuses, you're on Snapchat, you're on Instagram, and automatically that will sort of grow it. I don't necessarily have a strategy for it. It's what I'm doing anyway, and it sort of helps that way, yeah.
So earlier I was with Sia and Sam, right? And I asked them, is it a game of luck? Would you say that this is a game of luck, or is it that, you know, South Africa and Africa as a whole, we are very content hungry right now. We're always looking for the next status to laugh at, the next status to share, the next status to screen munch and put on our Instagrams, which then obviously can drive 5 or 10 people back to you. Would you say that's the key?
I think for me, when I started it, because I started as like a hobby, there was really like none of that happening.
So no strategy?
No real strategy. And then I decided, you know what, I want to turn this into a business. I want to earn some money, and this is what I want to do with my life. And then from then on, I was like, okay, Sibu, let's sit down. How can you do A? How can you do B? And then from then on, I tried to figure it out. And because there aren't other YouTubers doing what I'm doing, like YouTubers who have big numbers, who are super famous, it's very difficult to look at people and go, what did they do that I can do?
Yeah, to create your own path.
So then we just have to do what we think is right at the time.
So what's this hashtag that you started about getting yourself onto this talk show?
So I do this very often, where I will start a hashtag because, you know, I believe in the power of social media. People think Twitter is just Twitter. It's not just Twitter. Twitter is powerful. And I started a hashtag. I was like, get Sibu on Real Talk, because I was watching Nasty C on Real Talk, and I was like, I want to do that. Also because my end goal, or not necessarily my end goal, but where I want to be in 5 years is doing something like this just on the internet. Okay. So I was like, get Sibu on Real Talk. I want to be here. Even though I'm not there yet, I want to be here first. So I was like, get Sibu on Real Talk. Started tweeting. 200 retweets later, I was like, I didn't actually expect that. And then I got the email saying, hey, Sibu, do you want to be on Real Talk? And I was like, that's the power of social media.
And you're like, no, you're like, thank you, Nasty C. You better rap about this one day, young man. So when it comes to content, I think, you know, a lot of people can get themselves into a spin about content. Ooh, how do we do content? But for you, it would seem that what you're doing is you are just taking your personality, and then the natural extension then becomes your content, like your commentary on social issues. Would I be right in assuming that?
That is absolutely correct. Everything for me, you see, when people ask me how do you make content, it's like South African content makes itself. We don't have to look too far. It's just, you know, my favorite part of my job is how do I package that and then put it on my YouTube channel. So it's pretty much just me taking what I see and taking what's relative to me and then speaking about it from my personal opinion.
And if you had to, obviously you're going to go home and you're going to do, how often are you doing videos, by the way?
So this month I'm actually trying to make a video every single day.
Whoa.
You know, I tried and it didn't work out very well, but it's really opened my eyes to how difficult my job can be if I like try to push as much out. But usually it's once a week at least, at most 3 times a week, and then I'll hold it.
So if you had to talk about today, let's say you had to do a vlog about today, what happened in South Africa today? What's the day today?
Oh my goodness.
15 May 2017.
I was freaking out about my interview today. Okay, do you know
Oh,
what I'll do?
really?
Can I
Well,
look at
maybe do a vlog about
Can
that.
I look at a camera?
Yes,
Where do I
look at a camera.
Can I look at that camera?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start like this. So there'll
Don't
be this.
sway, please,
No,
'cause
never.
I know you people on YouTube are foul.
Never. So I'll look at the camera and I'll be like, hello, my name is Sibu Mpanza. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I have an interview with Anele. And you know what? I woke up and I was freaking out. But you know what? I made it at the end of the day because that's what Sibu does. And then we'd carry on.
Oh. So, and then you talk about things like, let's say, Brian Mulefe going back to ESCOM and the fact that the COPE, all 9 of them were doing outside ESCOM, and then you go into that.
Exactly. So I've actually been wanting to talk about this Brian Mulefe business because you know, it's bad and it's bad, but it's such a funny thing to see in South Africa. Someone can leave and then just come back and everybody's like, South Africa, yeah.
That's what ties Dallas last.
Exactly.
You never throw your ex away.
Naturally, yeah.
And when it comes to then pricing it, I know briefly when you were talking in that clip that we played earlier that you said, you know, you feel it out, you feel it out, you feel it out. But do you have a rate card? I mean, like I work in radio, I work in TV. We have rate cards that we give to clients. This is how much it's going to cost. Do you have a rate card, a set one, or do you look at the brand and then clutch balance?
So a little bit of both, actually. So I do have a rate card, and a lot of the times the brands will actually say, not necessarily the brand, the agency will come to you and say, Sibu, we'd like your rate card. We want you to work with a certain brand, but they won't say what the brand is.
Okay.
Send the rate card, and then it will say Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for me, which is not like a lot of other influencers because they don't use YouTube. And then they'll say, okay, we want 3 of this, 2 of this, 1 of these over this certain time period. And then they'll give me what is called a content calendar. And then we'll speak and decide when we want these certain things to happen. Yeah.
And then can you give me collectively, what are your numbers looking like?
In terms of?
Just add
social media?
Yeah, just add everything.
Oh,
like, what's your reach looking at?
Wow, that's a difficult one. So it's 5,000 Twitter, 5,000 YouTube. Over the past 2 years, I just hit 300,000 people have watched my YouTube videos.
Nicely done.
Which is like, that was my big thing that's happened recently.
Yeah.
And then I think Facebook is like 2,000. But the thing that I love, and Sia actually spoke about it briefly, is you don't have to necessarily have the numbers to earn the money. If you have the right audience, if you have the right reach, if you have an audience that listens to you.
That is interactive and responsive.
Yeah. If you have that, then you can make the money.
And what about your background makes what you do easier? Because you're a videographer, you're a photographer. Do you know what I'm saying? Was that your skill? Is that what you trained for?
That was none of my skill. If you
learned along the way.
If you watch my first video, you will look at it and be like, why is anybody watching this?
We should have played that.
Never. So if you watch that, then you can see that. And that's like another brilliant thing about YouTube is you can go, let me watch his oldest video, and you can see the growth happen over time. The only thing that I can say helped is before I dropped out, I studied at UCT, Social Development and Gender Studies. And that really helped me better articulate myself with these very touchy situations.
Like the We Stand with Sibu.
Yeah.
What was that about?
There we go.
So let me bring you up to speed quickly before, because now we've got a minute left. Hashtag We Stand with Sibu, it was trending everywhere last month, and I want to know what happened there.
So basically what happened is I had an altercation with another YouTuber.
On the internet?
On the internet.
Not face to face?
No.
Okay,
Sibu, not a fighter. An altercation on the internet, and then they called the brand into question for why they were working with me, and then consequently the brand stopped working with me. And because Twitter is such a beautiful place and they can sort of see what happens, people started the hashtag We Stand with Sibu, and it trended for I was breaking news the next morning. It was so weird as a YouTuber, as an internet person being breaking news.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much.
So did the brand come back?
No, they did not, but more came.
Out with the old and in with the new. Sibu Mpanza, thank you so much. Look, we all need to rethink our lives after today. I mean, it's so simple, but it does require a sharp mind too. More with Real Talk after the break. Sibu, thank you. And for the last time, we're back. No doubt that the digital space presents brand new opportunities of acquiring income. The question, though, is to what degree? Will we ever get to a point where many more of us can rely entirely on making money from social media and turn it into a viable career? To help answer the question is commentator and media consultant Phil Impela. Phil, your account is verified on Twitter.
Yeah.
There's a little blue tick that lives next to your name. Okay, verified as what? Like, because when you verified, they're saying this person here is famous for something.
Yeah, but I've been at this for quite a while. You know, I started off at TVSA. I was there for 3 years. I was blogging for free. I wasn't getting paid for it, but I knew that I was building a contact list and I was building a platform for me to go to do other things. And I started off as a blogger, and then from there I get into entertainment commentary where I've done things on other channels. So I suppose that's a validation of the work that I've done over the last 10 years.
Oh, that's awesome. And so you say you were blogging for free with like an intention that you that you wanted to. Can you put it in a word? What is it that you wanted to
look
be?
like what Sia and Sibu said. I mean, like, you need to have a plan. You know what I mean? Especially, I mean, I came from Northwest, from rural villages in Northwest. I knew that I was not going to be able to go and study journalism. So I said to myself, okay, cool. When I get to Jozi, what am I going to do that's going to get me into the game? And I was lucky that in 2007, blogging was, you know,
on the rise.
On the rise. You know, you had your TVSA and you had all these people there.
Lelo was on TVSA.
Yes, Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar. Okay, I see what's happening. She's on Just Curious.
Yes.
Well, since left it.
Yeah.
All right, so you were just commentating on TV shows. What happened?
Actually, I mean, my very first article that actually got attention didn't have anything to do with television or the entertainment industry. It was called Seasonal Lover. It was about relationships. And people liked it, like the way that I did my commentary and all of that. And then from there, I was on some, okay, there's a good platform for me to get to where I need to go. So now how do I package it right? So I was like, everybody's doing gossip, so I'm not going to do gossip. I'm going to try as hard as I can to distinguish myself from there, which is very important. You need to find your niche within that space, because if you just come in and do what everybody else is doing,
you're gonna get lost.
That's the thing.
Okay, so now we've established who you are.
Yeah.
We're gonna get spicy now. You are not convinced that people are making all this money that they say they're making from being influencers, bloggers, you know, digital moguls.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not convinced. It's that I need there to be an honest conversation. I mean, if you go into my Twitter feed, you'll see that I do a lot of numbers a lot.
Yes,
with television ratings,
yes.
radio,
I actually saw our ratings on your page.
Exactly.
I was like,
you know
how does he know when we don't know? What part of the game is this?
You know, so I sit in a position where I can just pick up the phone and call the channel or call Stay Clinical, call all these people and get these actual numbers and stuff like that. And I feel like it's my responsibility to use that in a positive way. It would be very wrong for us to give people the impression that you can just wake up and leave your job, or you can just start a blog tomorrow and then you're going to be a billionaire, or you're going to make a living out of that. A lot of the time, people are making money because they've created a platform for them through digital space, and then they're able to do other businesses through that. It's very rare that somebody's just going to make money from just being a blogger or a YouTuber or whatever. Because the money that we make in South Africa is not what the Americans and, you know, the rest of the YouTubers and bloggers around the world are making.
What's stopping us from making the money that, besides like, you know, obviously the pound is what, 20 and the rare, you know, the dollar's 14. What's stopping us from just making like a viable income?
Because, I mean, the platform that we're in South Africa, I mean, first of all, people are getting access to the internet, to the digital space for a lot of South Africans is not happening. Do you know what I mean? It's still a luxury for people to actually have internet and actually sit and consume our content for hours and hours. You know, data is very expensive. It hasn't fallen.
Oh, shots fired.
You know what I mean? We're still waiting for data to fall. That hasn't happened. So that limits the amount of time that people are going to spend on the digital space. And as well as, I think one of the guys said it, I think brands and agencies in South Africa are still not respecting digital content creators. They still think that they're doing people a favor. But then when you look at that and look at it into a broader spectrum of the entertainment industry at large, that's what we're struggling with. In South Africa, we are just not being given that respect. No matter how famous you are, I mean, a lot of people are always surprised when I give them facts that, you know that in South Africa, a lot of our celebrities don't even get paid for covers. It's like, what? You know, there are people that
Wait a minute, are people actually getting paid for covers?
Yes, there are people that are not getting paid for magazine covers. And you have to ask yourself, how is that happening? But is that culture? I mean...
Wait, stop. Internationally, people get paid to do covers.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not the norm in South Africa.
That is not the norm.
So you're saying it should be the norm?
I think it should be. I mean, you need to distinguish it from this. If they're doing a tabloid story, obviously you're going to get paid for that. But if you're going to be doing a feature cover story for a magazine, you need to get paid for that. But then if you go back in entertainment industry history, for a very long time, black talent were treated as, we are doing you a favor, be grateful that you've got a job in this industry. Unfortunately, 20 years in, that hasn't changed within the entertainment industry.
For just black talent?
Even though we've got black people making decisions within the industry, that same structure of how we need to get paid, how we need to get respected.
Also, what you're saying is black people are getting paid less than their white counterparts.
They're getting paid less, or they're not getting paid at all. You know, and then that brings on another issue of fronting. So now you have a situation where a lot of us who are in the industry want to keep up this perception that we're actually making money. And then when you get into trouble and now we need donations, people are surprised. So where I'm coming from is that, can we just be honest? If I'm making a living, I've never had a 9-to-5 job, okay? I've been able to pay my rent. I bought my car cash, you know, through what I do. Though I've never had a 9-to-5 job, I have no tertiary qualification. That's fine, but I'm not going to sit here and tell South Africa that, oh my God, you are going to make lots and lots of money from doing what
You're going to live. You're not going to splurge.
Because that's not the reality. The reality is there are politics in this as there are politics in every other industry. But for us, it's even difficult because we have to deal with having to convince people all the time that I'm worth your respect. I'm worth what you need to pay.
So you are saying that people are posting brands on their Instagram pages and on their Twitter ones, but they're doing it for product and not for money necessarily.
Exactly. I can tell you this. I can stake my career on it. Of the 5 people that will tell you that they are at an event or whatever, only 1 is probably getting paid to be there. Of the 10 people that will post about a brand, only about 2 are actually getting paid to pay. Because sometimes what brands will do is that they will just send you stuff and just think that. And for some people, that's fine. You know, some people just enjoy getting those invitations to events and posting them next to Anele all the time. For some people, that's the validation that they need, and that's fine for them.
You're so refreshingly honest. I love it.
But we need that in South Africa, don't we?
You know, to wrap it up, because we must go, and I really like chatting to you. Tula Cindy posted something. And it really made such a lot of sense, where he said the males in the industry get these big endorsement deals with alcohol brands, and yet the ladies just get invited to the party and you get a bottle and you must wear a nice dress and makeup must be done and that's it. And there's a big like discrepancy in that, and that needs to change. So ultimately, this is what you're saying.
Exactly, because that happens because a lot of ladies are just happy to have those Instagram pictures. Guys are not really your Instagram kind of whatever. So a guy will be like, how much are you paying me? Whereas the ladies will be like, I've got a beautiful dress, I need to show it off, so I'll just show up.
Phil, I'm so sorry you have to go because you and I could have gotten so spicy together, but that's where we have to leave it for today. I hope we've given you plenty food for thought. A big thank you to all my guests, Menzi Ngobo, Siabeile, Sam Wright, as well as Phil Mbella. I hope we've managed to ignite a little fire in you for the endless possibilities in which social media platforms present, while still being cognizant of the pitfalls. Research, 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 and stats. Anything is possible in our lifetime. Let's do this again tomorrow, fam. Thank you. Bye. Sure.